All right, a big win for Rahul Gandhi and for Team India, and it came from the Supreme Court that put a stay on his conviction by the trial court for Modi's surname comments. Rahul Gandhi has called this a victory of truth and democracy. However, the implication of this order is massive politically. If things go in his favor, it paves the way for a Modi versus Rahul Gandhi face-off for 2024. Remember, the conviction has been stayed pending a final adjudication in the matter. The court observed that the trial court has not cited enough reasons to give Rahul Gandhi the maximum punishment, which was 2 years, which basically meant that he would be disqualified from his Lok Sabha membership. It also expressed concern that the constituents of Wayanad have been left unrepresented in parliament till a final order comes. The court, however, wrapped Rahul as well, saying that a person in public life should know that his distasteful words can have widespread ramifications. The next step for Rahul Gandhi and the Congress will be to seek his disqualification from parliament be revoked by the speaker. In fact, Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary today already made mention of that before the speaker. It also means that pending the final order, Rahul Gandhi can contest the 2024 elections. But today, while speaking to the media after the order, all that Rahul Gandhi said was that this is a victory of truth and democracy, and his work remains the same to protect the idea of India.
आज नहीं तो कल, कल नहीं तो परसों सच्चाई की जीत होती है। मगर जो भी हो, मेरा रास्ता तो क्लियर है। मुझे क्या करना है, मेरा क्या काम है, उसके बारे में मेरे दिमाग में बिल्कुल क्लैरिटी है। जिन लोगों ने हमारी मदद की और जनता ने जो प्यार और सपोर्ट दिया, उसके लिए मैं बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद करता हूं।
खुशी की दिन है, बड़े खुशी की दिन है यार।
सर, आप लोकसभा स्पीकर से भी अब कहेंगे?
बिल्कुल मांगूंगा। लोकसभा स्पीकर को आज ही मैं चिट्ठी लिखूंगा और सोमवार लोकसभा खुलते ही ये मांग करूंगा। इसी वक्त मैं सदन में हूं, मतलब सदन की परिसर में हूं। अभी अभी जाकर स्पीकर से नहीं तो कम से कम फोन पे उनसे इस मुद्दे पे हम बात करने के लिए तैयार है, करने जा रहे हैं।
The Congress cadre celebrate what they call a victory of truth and justice. There were plenty of sloganeering, cheering, and of course distribution of sweets, even as Rahul Gandhi entered the Congress office.
सर, आपको क्या लगता है सर कि जस्टिस किया गया है सर?
Yeah, definitely, madam. Because see, what is happened, जो केरला में जो local court उधर they didn't give justice here. At least in Supreme Court, we are sure that we will definitely get justice. So ये जो आज का डेवलपमेंट हुआ है ना, हम लोग we are really happy with that, and definitely we are keeping our fingers crossed that in future definitely something good will happen for democracy.
Okay, thank you. Well, of course, workers over here were celebrating in quite a big number, going on to distribute sweets, going on to say that it is one voice that's echoed right now through the Congress leaders, going on to say that justice has been upheld, and the fact that the Supreme Court today has of course stayed the conviction is something that is going to go a long way to prove that the country, of course the democratic fabric of the country is still safe, and this is what Congress leaders are saying.
Now, this would be seen by many as a setback for the BJP, especially since they had long questioned the Congress about how they are being led by somebody who himself has been disqualified from Parliament itself.
निर्णय की वास्तविक समीक्षा क्या है, अभी हम थोड़ी देर में करेंगे, लेकिन दो बातें तो स्पष्ट है ना कि राहुल गांधी जी, इस देश में लोकतंत्र है। इस देश के लोकतंत्र को आप दागदार मत बनाइए विदेशों में जाकर के। और दूसरी बात कि अगर ये क्षमा आप शुरू में ही मांग लिए तो लोअर कोर्ट में, तो तभी क्षमा हो गया होता। आपने क्षमा कब मांगा? सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जाके।
नहीं, ठीक है, वो किसी कारण से इसको गुड मान सकते हैं, लेकिन अगर आप देखो तो ये उनके ऊपर कहीं ना कहीं सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने भी स्वीकार किया ही है कि उन्होंने गलती की है। और जो जिस प्रकार से आपने देखा ये कि लगातार प्रधानमंत्री जी को अपमानित करने का इन्होंने जो काम किया, उनके लिए अनर्गल जो बयानबाजी किया, 2019 के चुनाव के पहले जिस प्रकार से बगैर तथ्यों के उनको चोर कहा, और मैं समझता हूं कि भारत के पवित्र लोकतंत्र में इस प्रकार का कोई बड़ा नेता है जिस प्रकार का आचरण करता है तो उसको बर्दाश्त नहीं किया जा सकता। और भले ही न्यायालय से इन्हें कुछ राहत यहाँ के ऊपर मिल गई हो, लेकिन लोकतंत्र में सबसे बड़ा न्यायालय जनता का होता है और 2024 के चुनाव में जनता इसको जरूर जवाब देगी।
All right, joining us on the show, Tuhin Sinha, national spokesperson of the BJP, Ajay Verma, leader of the Congress, and advocate Sanket Yenagi. But I want to first go across to Mr. Mahesh Jethmalaani, who in fact has been representing Purnesh Modi, who not just is an MLA of the BJP, but is also the complainant in the case. Mr. Jethmalani, I want to ask you, as the lawyer for Purnesh Modi and someone who argued against the stay on conviction, do you think this order is a setback?
No, I don't see it as a setback. I mean, the ground on which the Supreme Court has granted a stay of conviction is because the magistrate, the trial court, has not given adequate reasons for imposing the maximum sentence. But there's no, there's nothing about merits on the, any comments on the merits of the case, except to say that he should have been, in fact, there have been many strictures passed by him in this interim order today. There have been many observations against Rahul Gandhi about his conduct, and the stay of conviction has only been granted so that the consequences of the conviction are very serious, i.e. disqualification, right? And the judge has not given adequate reasons according to the court. So that's okay. The appeal is still pending. It has been expedited by both the High Court and the Supreme Court, right? According to me, the conviction will stand. The question of sentence on the maximum sentence, they'll have to get better grounds. The lawyers in before the Sessions Court in Gujarat will have to bolster up the case on sentence by giving adequate grounds as to why the 2 years should be reimposed. But according to me as a lawyer, I have no doubt about the success of the conviction being upheld by the Supreme Court. The stay of conviction today only means that the conviction is postponed till the appeal is over. It doesn't mean the conviction is not annulled. Rahul Gandhi today stands convicted. Only the consequences of that conviction, such as disqualification, stand postponed to a time when the appeal court finally decides the matter.
But that's
been expedited, so round 2 is still in the pipeline.
Okay, so you are geared up for round 2, but the fact is that today the Supreme Court said clearly that the lower courts and the Gujarat High Court also have not given enough reasons to justify why they gave a maximum sentence to Rahul Gandhi, that of 2 years. This is something that a lot of people have questioned earlier as well. Why give maximum sentence? Many suggested this was for the sole reason to ensure that Mr. Gandhi was disqualified. What do you think of this?
Yeah, so there's a nuance. They've said that the judge has not given adequate reasons, right? But there may be you can justify the maximum. It is possible to justify the maximum sentence in this case. But the ground that the judge gave perhaps fell short, and the Supreme Court felt so. And the Supreme Court is right. Maybe the grounds for which the Sessions Court gave for imposing the maximum of 2 years, right, were not clearly enunciated in the order.
Okay, but another observation made by the court was that an entire constituency has been deprived of representation because of maximum sentence that was imposed. It also said that he wouldn't have been disqualified had the sentence been a day less. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, the trial is over. As I said, we're now dealing with the appeal. Okay? So be very careful. Now, the conviction, when you're accused person, you're presumed to be innocent at the stage before the trial commences. Once you've been convicted, right, that presumption ceases to hold. So Rahul Gandhi, in the eyes of the law, notwithstanding the stay of conviction, still continues to be a convict. A. B, as far as the sentence part is concerned, I've already said that the Supreme Court found that, yes, the sentence was not justified. The maximum sentence was not justified by good reason by the Sessions Court. It didn't say that you can never impose 2 years on Rahul Gandhi. So, as I said, we are back before the appellate court now, the Sessions Court, which will hear the matter expeditiously. And, you'll have to make a better case, and the court, if it finds him guilty and feels he needs a sentence of 2 years, will have to get very clear, good, sound reasons which will be upheld in any further proceedings that may go up.
But I want to actually quote an oral observation of Justice Gawai in court. Of course, we don't have the written order just as yet. Here's what the oral observation said today. Here, not just the right of one individual is involved, but an entire electorate of a particular community.
Well, look, I mean, I don't want to say, I have frankly no idea, as the judge was dealing with cases that have come up before him from the state of Gujarat. I have not seen those, so I can't comment on it, right? It's a view that's been expressed in the open court. But since I don't know what the judge was making a reference to, it would be unfair of me, both to the Gujarat courts and to Justice Gavai, to comment on that matter.
But can we now expect Mr. Gandhi to be reinstated as quickly as he was disqualified, which happened within 24 hours?
Well, I think that all public servants should act, equitably, right? And I think that one must respect the order of the court and give effect to it as soon as possible.
Okay, now let me finally ask you a question as a politician. Do you think this is going to galvanize the India alliance? Because all this while, the one thing that was thrown at them was, who's going to be your face? Rahul Gandhi is not even in the running. Now he is.
All right, since you asked me to wear the BJP hat, look, my views are very clear that in the 2024 elections, there is no alternative. It will be the NDA. First of all, INDIA are usurpers of a name, contrary to the Emblems and Symbols Act, right? Emblems and Names Act, and there's a petition filed today. So I will not call them INDIA. I will call them the 16-party alliance that is in court. I refuse to let India be usurped by a group which has done it A, illegally, and B, doesn't deserve that name. India belongs to all of us.
Yes, it does. Thanks very much, Mr. Mahesh Jethmalaani, for giving us your legal expertise. Let me take this across to our panel now. Tuhin Sinha, setback.
In fact, as Mr. Jethmalani explained, the conviction has been delayed. It has not been annulled. I don't know what the Congress party is celebrating today, because the celebration almost seems premature. It seems to be bordering on some sort of perversity. Are they celebrating their right to abuse a community simply because of the hatred for the Prime Minister? That's what they seem to be doing. Has the Congress, has the court today condoned the wrongdoing of Rahul Gandhi?
No, he's not, but he's going to be back as an MP.
On the contrary,
he's going to be back as an MP. That's what they're celebrating. Now he will be in the Lok Sabha.
It's his survival, but the fact is still the time he publicly apologizes for his conduct, because even today he wants to go Supreme Court, pass the stricture, pass certain observations on his behavior as a public figure, and that is what he seems to be completely ignorant of. This is not the first time he has been put in a situation like this. He has had to apologize to the Supreme Court in the past for falsely attributing certain words in the case of Rafal. He has faced similar cases of criminal defamation, for abusing the RSS, for abusing Veer Savarkar. So I think today he has been lucky, but the bigger point remains he should behave in a responsible manner. Instead of celebrating today, he should apologize to the people holding the Modi surname.
Tuhin Sinha, he's got reprieve, and even now you're telling him to apologize. I mean, concede today.
If he doesn't, then the people of the country will teach him another lesson in 2024. If he's prepared for that, he's the master of his destiny. If he wants to go further below 54 and 45 seats, because he may get a reprieve today, but ultimately, as a public figure, you are also accountable to the sentiments of the people, which he seems to be completely ignorant of. This is super serious behavior.
Okay, respond now. Sanket Yenagi. What are you celebrating so prematurely?
So one thing let us understand, in a democracy, to be successful, to be healthy, it always works on a check and balance theory. Opposition, in as much as the media, plays an important role of a watchdog of democracy. And during the course of this, interactions do happen. Sometimes it is aggressive approach, sometimes it is a mild approach. While being aggressive, sometimes there are chances of making some statements which stand on the borderline. Some media do comment in such a way, some politicians do comment in a way. It is not that Prime Minister has not made any comment on the family of Mr. Rahul Gandhi, or about his mother, or about his father, or both fathers. It is not that the contrary has not taken place even. But sometimes they tend to forget. Whenever they make it as a part of their contest, even taking every word as something which is absurd or defamatory, then the intention of the person has to be looked into. Whether a person is a public representative, a person who is interested in the public interest, or during the course of his public interest or the public concern, a person has made any comment of this nature, even though it is standing on the borderline, the intention, if it is not to hurt anyone, but to say something.
So that is fine. The question the BJP is asking you today is, are you celebrating prematurely? What are all these sweets and celebrations and V for victory for?
So to say that if there is a freedom of right to freedom of speech and expression, there is a tussle between freedom of speech and expression and one's personal right. The main contest of the matter before the trial court was that it was against a particular community. But in fact, if you can look into those comments or the statements made by Mr. Rahul Gandhi, it was against three people. Number one, Nirav Modi. Number two, Lalit Modi. Number three was Narendra Modi. All these three people have not approached the court at all. And during that context of the matter, he says about all the Modis. In the sense, it has to be interpreted in a particular sense.
Okay, but the court has right now already, on that, the court has already put a stay. Let me bring in Ajay Verma as well. अभी भी वो conviction उनका खत्म नहीं हुआ है, Mr. Verma. तो to celebrate and start distributing sweets is too early.
सत्यमेव जयते. देखिए, सत्य की हमेशा जीत होती है. और आपको बताऊं मैं, अहंकारी राजा जो होते हैं, राहुल गांधी चौथी पास अनपढ़ राजा नहीं हैं. वो एक पढ़े लिखे विद्वान व्यक्ति हैं, सांसद हैं. और जब ये लगा देश को, जो अहंकारी राजा आपने देखा कंस था, अहंकारी राजा रावण थे, अहंकारी राजा आपने देखा दुर्योधन था, किस तरह से जनता ने उनको स्वाद चखाया और सत्ता से भी गए और वो लोग गए. तो आप घमंड में रहेंगे, अहंकार करेंगे, कहाँ का मामला, कहाँ वो पहले वो एक्यूज जो वास्तव में पूर्णेश मोदी है ही नहीं. आज उन्होंने स्वीकार किया सुप्रीम कोर्ट में, मोड है वो, पूर्णेश मोड, इज नॉट मोदी. फिर वो कम्युनिटी, हाँ, सुप्रीम कोर्ट में कहा, एक कम्युनिटी 13 लोगों ने जो इन्होंने इसके खिलाफ दिया है, वो तो हमारे प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस में सिंघवी साहब ने सारी चीजें बता दी. मैं तो ये बताना चाहता हूं कि हम लोग राहुल गांधी को जिस तरह से अपमानित करके संसद सदस्यता भंग करने का प्री प्लान संयोजित कार्यक्रम भाजपा के आईटी सेल का और भाजपा की रणनीति कोर कमेटी का था, मकान
पर आपने सवाल का जवाब नहीं दिया. कोर्ट ने बोला है कि भाई अभी भी उनको, मैं मेरिट्स ऑफ द केस में नहीं जा रहा हूं,
मैं वहीं जा रहा हूं,
एंड ही शुड थिंक बिफोर ही स्पीक्स.
आई एम गोइंग
बट वी थिंक दैट द कंस्टिट्यूएंट्स शुड गेट अ रिप्रेजेंटेटिव.
अनडाउटली हमने मांग ये की थी कि जो हमारी दोष सिद्धि है, जो कन्वेक्शन है, उसको स्टे किया जाए. बाकी कोर्ट में केस चलेगा, कोर्ट प्रायोरिटी पे तय करे. प्राथमिकता तो इसी चीज की थी कि हाउस चल रहा है और किस तरह से हाउस में क्या किया जा रहा है. तो हमारी जो प्राथमिकता थी, सुप्रीम कोर्ट का हम धन्यवाद कहते हैं. देखिए, देवताओं की जीत होती है,
कन्विक्शन तो उनका स्टे हुआ नहीं है.
देखिए, देवताओं की जीत होती है, राक्षस हारते हैं. महाभारत में क्या हुआ था? सत्य की जीत हुई थी, असत्य की हार हुई थी. धर्म की जीत हुई, अधर्म की हार हुई थी.
सर, आपने पूरी महाभारत तो सुना दी, बट यू आर नॉट आंसरिंग माय क्वेश्चन. उनका कन्विक्शन खत्म नहीं हुआ है.
दोष सिद्धि
लाइक महेश जेठमलानी सेड, ही कंटिन्यूज टू रिमेन कन्विक्टेड.
कंटिन्यू टू रिमेन करेंगे, लेकिन फिलहाल स्थिति करने के बाद हम वापस संसद में जा सकते हैं. और मैं उम्मीद करता हूं और अनुरोध करता हूं आपके इस लोकप्रिय चैनल से कि जिस तरह से, जितनी जल्दी से, जितनी तत्परता से भाजपा ने और स्पीकर ने राहुल गांधी की सदस्यता रद्द करके मकान खाली कराया था, उतनी तेजी से वापस इनको स्वीकार करेंगे, कोर्ट के सम्मान करेंगे और इनको वापस सदन में लाने का काम करेंगे.
So when the debate happens next week, Rahul Gandhi will be there in the house, in his own house, और अब काटी की टक्कर होगी. That is the real victory. ये कन्विक्शन तो आते जाते रहेंगे, but Rahul Gandhi will be there like Mahabharat, taking on the Ahankari Raja.
I think there is a fundamental lack of understanding of the operation of law because Rahul Gandhi was disqualified by virtue of the ruling of the Sessions Court in Gujarat. It was a natural operation of law and we could not have done anything otherwise. So, when the Honorable Lok Sabha Speaker disqualified disqualified him, there are 50 other people who have been similarly disqualified upon conviction. But I think, instead of
Answer this. See, here we are not to talk about the legal points, because that, as it is going to be decided by court. Neither can you change it, nor can Sanket Yenagi change it. The simple political issue today is Congress is saying that now Rahul Gandhi will go head to head with Mr. Modi inside the Lok Sabha and on the election trail.
Contrary, Padmaja, we are very happy he's back, because his presence is always a boon for the BJP. The kind of cafe he makes, the kind of misdemeanor. Have you forgotten the incident during the Rafale debate in front of a lady defense minister? Then he was flying paper planes. So his boorish behavior is always a boon for the BJP. We had no role in his disqualification. The Congress may like to believe otherwise, but we had absolutely no role in his disqualification. And his presence now, I am telling you, will only be a boon for BJP, because he will once again expose his...
Okay, Rahul Gandhi's presence will be a boon for the BJP, Sanket Yenagi. Mr. Yenagi, can you unmute yourself?
I would say that the speaker, who has shown so much of haste in disqualifying Mr. Rahul Gandhi, would equally show the haste in inducting him as a member of parliament or reinstating him as a member of parliament, if at all he is serious about the saving of the democracy. And despite that, if the speaker is not acting in haste the way he has acted, then it shows there is a lacuna in democracy, and therefore democracy is in danger, and speaker is not independent. Because speaker do not belong to any party, and he should act independently. That's what the people expect. And that second part of it again would be, when this is a matter without even receiving the copy, speaker has acted in 24 hours, thinking that someone who is disqualified or has become disqualified on account of the conviction of the period of 2 years. I have one point to make here. Now it is the matter seized in an appeal. In my personal opinion, appeal is the continuation of the earlier proceedings. Once the matter has already reached an appellate court and it is being considered, and also the sentence having already been stayed before by the Supreme Court, it is presumed to be that not just the judgment and decree, judgment and conviction, judgment and order, but also the conviction having been stayed, though it has not been specifically stated so. So in my opinion, when the entire judgment itself is under consideration before the Sessions Court, in an appeal, it should not be said that person is convicted, so long as there is an order of stay operating. And in my opinion, so it is too premature to call someone as convicted or not eligible to contest or not eligible to be qualified as an MP as such. But
all right, we are obviously going to go into the intricacies of this case ahead in the day as well. For the time being, though, it's interesting. 6-7 months away from the elections, it seems you are set for a contest face-to-face between Narendra Modi and Rahul Gandhi, or are we? We'll keep a close watch. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for joining me. I'll see you next at 8 on India Upfront.